$165 for a Hellcat. For this vehicle, I have somebody in Detroit, they're willing to take out $5. But can you give me more for my trade-in? What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Hellcat Marv. Today we're gonna be talking about how much it costs to own a Hellcat, how much I paid, and the daily expenses. Let's get it, man. We'll also do a little POV while we talk. Let's go, man. All right, man, so first we're gonna talk about kind of my deal and how much I paid for the Hellcat. Then we're gonna talk about some of the daily expenses and cost. And also enjoy fuel pools. Make sure we're in track mode. And that car go ahead a little bit. All right, man, so let's talk about the deal. So I've been looking at Hellcats and Mopars for the last couple years now, just tracking the prices, just trying to see where I can get in at a good price. I initially started off with a Scat Pack when I was stationed in the military in Memphis, Tennessee. The Scat Pack had a lot less power, but it was still really fun car, about 500 horses. And the price point for that, 2020, it was around COVID, they were price gouging, but I got a deal for 0% financing, and I got mine for about $50,000, just to keep it at an estimate. That car eventually got stolen in Memphis, Tennessee, about 2 months after owning the vehicle. And then I got into a Mercedes, thinking I can just play it cool and lay low for a while. I realized I'm a car enthusiast, love Mopars, and luxury just wasn't cutting it. Luxury cars are cool and all if it's your forte, but if you're a car enthusiast, and cooled seats and heated ventilation or whatever they call it, infotainment, it just doesn't matter to you. You want the bare bones, you want the horsepower, you want the performance. And this is what I wanted to go for. So while I had the Mercedes in between the Scat Pack, I was consistently looking online, Autolist, etc., for, you know, another Mopar, either to get another Scat Pack or get into a Hellcat. So I'll say in about 2023, that was like post-COVID, they were really price gouging the Hellcats because of this chip shortage. So with supply and demand during that time, the prices were really high. I'm talking, you know, to get a Hellcat that's stock, you know, base model without a lot of perks, you're talking about 85 to 90,000. And if you wanted a Hellcat that's fully loaded, a red eye, something like that, you're talking about 100,000. They were talking above sticker for some of these vehicles. So I'd say from 2023 to 24, like early 24, I said forget it. I don't need a Hellcat. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep the Mercedes and just lay low, right? So right now we're in 2025. Like the beginning of 2024, around then, they also came out with the last call, right? Well, before 2024, it was like 2023. So in 2023, they came out with the last call Hellcats, last call SRTs essentially, right? So when that came out, that also contributed to the craze and the price gouging. So after some of that settled down, I don't know if it was a supply and demand thing or people kind of just cooled off on wanting to go crazy about these cars, the prices really started going down. Oh, it's a CTS-V right behind me. Cadillac CTS. But yeah, I don't know what it was, but folks, you know, they weren't as crazy about getting the Hellcats anymore, and the prices really started going down. The lots were filling up with these cars, even with the last call editions. So around January, February-ish, I started really looking, because I saw the prices dipping down to 60s, 70s, and even 50s for models of vehicles that had previous accidents or had issues. So of course you're gonna pay a lot less of a premium if a car had a previous issue. So one tip I'm gonna give for all my viewers: if you are purchasing a Hellcat or a performance vehicle that you really want and desire, try doing a nationwide search, because what you're gonna save on the back end, or what you're gonna pay, what you're gonna save on the back end is essentially what you're gonna be paying for shipping, right? So for example, if I were living in Ohio or more rural area and the stock is limited, right, I'm only limited to those options. So dealerships, etc., they can price gouge you. They can be like, well, we know this is only 2 Hellcats in our area, so we're gonna charge X amount of premium, right? Whereas if you do a nationwide search and you just pay the extra for shipping, you can get the car you want with the specs that you need, and probably get a discount if stock is very high in that area versus it being limited. Get a little pull. Get a little slide for y'all. But if you're in a high population dense area, you might see similar instances where there's limited stock in some dealerships, higher stock in others, and you can shop around a bit more. But then again, with that nationwide search, you can get the exact specs that you want. So you're talking about every car in the country, right? Every Hellcat on sale in the country for your, you know, consumption or for your shopping, right? So with that, man, I said I'm gonna do a nationwide search because I want certain specs. I want this vehicle to be perfect, especially I'm going to be spending X amount of dollars on it. Okay, so I went on online forums, saw some good deals, and I saw a Hellcat for about 68 out of Ohio, Dublin, Ohio, Toy Barn Factory. Reached out to the salesman, spoke with him, you know, saw what they were offering, to determine what my price point was, communicated that I had a trade-in. Trade-ins are also very helpful because you can wiggle more in the trade, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I shopped with them, and then I shopped a few other options, right? Another thing is, when you have different options, you can also negotiate that too, right? So if I'm shopping a vehicle in Ohio, I can say, hey, if you take $2,000 off of this vehicle, I have somebody in Detroit, they're willing to take off $5,000. You know what I'm saying? And kind of mix and match price points and kind of really finagle the deal you want. So again, really advise nationwide shopping. Even if you pay that shipping fee, you're gonna save more on the negotiation and the leverage of being able to buy an out-of-state, to buy a nationwide deal, right? You're gonna get so much leverage out of that, the fact that you're doing a nationwide search, that they're gonna have to take money off of the premium, right? So that's kind of what I did. I had a trade-in. That was another leverage point for me. With the trade-in, I was able to say, all right, you can only wiggle $2,000 off the price, so we can bring it down to about $66,000. But can you give me more for my trade-in, right? I owed $21,000 on the Mercedes, and then they wanted to give me 17 for it initially, right? So I said, well, I owe 20. No, I didn't owe 21. I owed 19. I owed 19 on the Mercedes. So I said, you want to give me 17, right? But I owe 19 on it, so that won't work out for me at all. Can you wiggle on the trade? And since it's a trade and they know they're gonna mark up anyway on that trade, they're gonna be more willing to give you, you know, additional dollars on top of your trade because of that. So that's kind of what happened. They said, all right, we're gonna bring you up to 19. I said, well, I want a little bit of profit on the trade so I can go towards the Hellcat. So then we ended up around like 20,000. So now my base price being, you know, 68, I brought it down to 60, 66, and then with the trade, and now we're talking about 65 for a Hellcat, right? This is a 2021 Hellcat. So boom, I'm at 65,000 all in for this vehicle, when I could have been getting price gouged at the dealership for, you know, 70, 75. So with that, you know, we kind of made the deal happen, had the vehicle shipped, sent off my trade, and my Hellcat came the next week. So let's talk about monthly expenses, right? Kind of, you know, interest rates are pretty high right now, so I didn't get the best deal on interest, but it was good for the times, right? Right now I'm paying about 7% interest for this vehicle, right? I didn't buy it down or anything, and then that brought my monthly payment for a loan at 65,000 plus, you know, my gap insurance and other packages like warranty and things, extended warranty. I pay, I think, $12.90 something a month for this vehicle. So that's my monthly payment. And I'll drop it in the comments, you know, the breakdown of that. I pay $12.90 something a month for this car. I think that's really manageable. And even though my pockets hurt sometimes, it's a really good deal, man. I mean, it's not by any means unsustainable. And then insurance, I got a pretty good deal. I have a good driving history. If you're gonna get a Hellcat, have a good driving history, please. So for insurance, I pay about $275. I'm 28 years old, so I got the age going with me as well. If you want a Hellcat, make sure that you're not getting tickets, make sure you're not speeding, getting into wrecks, things like that, because it's all gonna help you when it comes to your insurance premium. This is a supercharged V8. It's a two-door, it's a coupe. So the insurance sees it as more risky to give you insurance on a vehicle like such, right? So yeah, $1,200 a month, $300 a month on insurance, about $300 a month. And then let's talk about gas. So for fuel, I don't daily drive this car. If you watch some of my other videos, I daily drive a Toyota Camry. So I go to work with a Toyota Camry, I run my errands with a Toyota Camry, and I kind of just drive this. Even if you don't daily drive a Hellcat, you're gonna be filling this thing up 3 times a week. I fill this car up 3 times a week. Do not make the mistake of getting a Hellcat and not factoring in gas, insurance, and maintenance in your budget. Tires, you're gonna run through them quick. This car's so much fun. You just saw me slide. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna run through tires. Get your budget down pat before you get a Hellcat, because you're gonna come out more than you kind of expect. I'll also say it's all worth it. It's 100% worth it, right? Every dollar is worth that put towards this thing is worth it in thrill, fun, adrenaline. I have so much fun with this car. I find excuses to drive this thing. I literally find excuses to get on the road and see how much more this thing has to it. And as you can see, it just can't get enough, man. It doesn't matter if you're in 2nd gear, 3rd gear, it wants more. Worth it if you gotta reach it a little bit, you know, eat carrots for lunch, pull back on the video games purchases, pull back on certain items, do a budget just for your Hellcat. Shoot, I do it any day, because it's that much fun, and you will not regret the monthly incursions that this car creates. But yeah, man, that kind of does it for the breakdown of how much I paid for my 2021 SRT Hellcat and how much monthly maintenance it really takes. I probably forgot to include oil changes and things like that, but those are kind of few in between. But other than that, man, if y'all have any questions, please list them down in the comment sections. I will be answering every single one, so let me know. And that's all I got, man. One more pull for the show. Let's get it. And speed bump. And let's just do one more pull. Launching in second gear. So if you didn't notice, I was spinning for like 5 minutes there. Straight spinning. Man. Hey man, like, comment, subscribe, go in the comment sections, turn on the notification bell so you know what I post, how I post it, when I post it. Man, that's all folks. We out of here, man. Joe!